Whether you've gotten your hair cut professionally before or this is your first time preparing to go for a professional appointment, this is going to be your guide for figuring out if the hairstylist that you're going to is going to be the right fit for you. I have compiled a list of some hairstylist red flags. Now, these are my personal opinion. Obviously, everyone is going to have their own experiences. I would love to hear some of yours down below in the comment section. So if you have any hairstylist horror stories or just red flags that came up for you during your appointment, let us know down in the comments. These are just things that I have observed that can be potential red flags for clients, both now on the opposite end of things as a professional myself now, and as someone who has sat in the chair, same as you, and gotten my own haircuts and had less than stellar experiences, to say the least. Now, I'm going to start off with number one being kind of boring, but this is sanitation procedures. This is going to vary state to state, but generally speaking, this is something that you want to be keeping an eye out for when you're sitting in someone's chair. Now, in general, if you walk into a space and it feels dirty, that to me is a huge red flag. Now, it is a hair salon. Hair is inevitable. It gets everywhere. But if they don't seem to be making active efforts to do daily cleaning procedures, and especially if their station isn't being cleaned in between each client, that is a huge red flag. Some things that you want to keep an eye out for when you're getting your hair cut is you should be seeing them having a barbicide container on their station. Now, not everyone has a barbicide container on their station. Sometimes, especially in a lot of more salon shops as opposed to barber shops, they tend to have a shared barbicide in the back. So just because you can't see it right at their station, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't have it, but just keep an eye out when you're getting your hair cut. Do their tools seem clean? Does their station seem clean? All of those are usually indicators that they are properly sanitizing their equipment. And you can rest assured, if you see someone with a barbicide container on their station, they are hopefully sanitizing their equipment properly and making sure to provide a safe service for you, which is honestly the top priority. The second red flag for me is this person not respecting your autonomy. Now, depending on which person you're going to see, everyone is going to have a different way of leading you back to their chair and starting the consultation process with you. And you don't necessarily have to be looking for someone who's going as far as to asking permission to touch you, although me personally, I don't think that there's anything wrong with a stylist doing that. But if they're unnecessarily invading your space, obviously if they're touching you in ways that aren't appropriate, if they're cutting you off, if they're not actively listening to you as the client, all of those things are indicators that this stylist is probably not respecting your autonomy as a human being. And that is something that is extremely important. You should be respected. You should be listened to. Someone can be really brand new and fresh out of school and not necessarily be giving the most amazing haircuts on planet Earth, but if they respect your autonomy, that is so huge. Especially if you are a first-time client to this stylist, they should be giving you a consultation. Now, depending on the situation, maybe you have been attending the same salon or barber shop, and maybe they have shared notes on file for haircuts that you've gotten in the past. If you tend to be someone that comes in and gets the same haircut every single time, this is highly likely, but they should still be asking you about your haircut. And if they did their due diligence to prepare for the appointment ahead of time, they probably looked at your notes and are going to ask you if you want something similar to what you've had in the past. Now, especially in these situations, it's super important that you confirm with them what exactly they mean by what you've gotten in the past, because oftentimes we're in a rush. Stylists who work at these shared spaces get confused on clients and might put the wrong notes in on the wrong client. So just make sure that you are on the same page with your consultation. One thing that I used to see really commonly happen, especially when I was working in a shared salon space that I was employed at, was a lot of people doubting my skill set because of the amount of questions that I was asking. And I don't think that's an accurate representation at all of a stylist's skill set. In fact, I think it's actually more concerning if a stylist is not asking enough questions. Obviously, this is going to vary depending on the type of hair that you have to start and what you're looking to get done, but In general, you should know that your stylist is on the same page as you. At the end of the consultation especially, you're going to be looking for the stylist giving some direction of, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing. I have a clear vision, maybe repeating back to you what you said to them, asking periodically to see your inspiration picture again as they're cutting your hair. Now, I'm going to tread kind of lightly when I mention this fourth one, just because it is something that I feel like every stylist is going to feel differently on. One thing that I feel very strongly about is if a stylist feels like they are being extremely pushy about selling you a product, I feel like that's a red flag. Now, let me just say, there is a huge difference between a stylist who is educating you on the products that they're using, who believe that professional products are superior in quality and give you recommendations, versus someone who is just pushing and trying to make the sale at all costs. Oftentimes at salons, unfortunately, there are requirements for retail sales each month. If you want to jump levels, be able to raise your prices, have more consistent clientele, and honestly make a bigger income, oftentimes sales on products really helps you with that. So on one hand, it is a super important part of the job, and on the other hand, it is something that shouldn't make you as a client feel uncomfortable. For me, I'm always going to recommend my clients to use professional products on their hair. I do truly believe that professional products in many ways are superior. That being said, I do make a conscious effort to try to educate myself on some products that aren't necessarily professional, that are in a bit more of a budget-friendly range for clients who simply cannot afford to pay the professional product price tag. Something else I think is really important to remember is that us as stylists coming out of school without any sort of continued education whatsoever don't really know chemical compositions, don't really know formulations. We have specific product knowledge that we take on professional lines, and so many of us are giving you recommendations based off of that specific product knowledge. There are stylists who do continued education to learn about chemical compositions. Maybe they go to school for trichology. Those things are really useful for learning about what is actually good for the hair. But I know I can say for myself, I haven't done that yet. I definitely really want to, but I haven't done that yet. So a lot of my information that I have going into recommending products for my clients is based on my own personal experience working on my own hair and working behind the chair, and the product knowledge that I have gained over the years on specific lines. I feel like that really naturally segues us into the next one, which is if your stylist is not doing continued education outside of school, that's a red flag for sure. Again, this is something that varies state to state, but I know a lot of states, in order to retain your cosmetology or your barbering license, require you to do a certain amount of hours of education. Now, the thing is, even the required amount of continued education, in my opinion, is not enough. This is something that is a lot more subtle, and especially if you don't go to a stylist who's like actively posting about like what they're doing continued education wise on social media, you might not be able to tell like immediately whether or not this person is engaging in continued education, but it is something that is super important. The hair industry has changed drastically, even in the last 20 years. We've learned so much about chemical composition, techniques. There are things that we used to do previously that we do not do anymore because it causes a lot of damage to the hair. And if you're going to a stylist who isn't actively continuing their education and making sure to stay up to date on all the new techniques, then that is definitely something you should be concerned about. It also means if you're someone who is wanting to try out more modern styles or trends, they're probably not super in the know on those things. This last one is kind of a personal one, but I think it's still applicable to everyone. I'm neurodivergent. It's something I didn't learn about myself until later in life, but I can look back on experiences when I was sitting in the chair getting my hair cut, and there were things that made me really deeply uncomfortable that stylists did that now I have the language for, but at the time it was frustrating because I had no way of clearly communicating with them and they weren't open to that communication anyway. If a stylist isn't willing to adjust based on your needs, that's a huge red flag. They should be making an effort to make sure that you feel comfortable from start to finish throughout the entire appointment. For me, I try really hard to create a sensory-friendly experience when I'm cutting hair. Getting a haircut when you're neurodivergent is a sensory nightmare, especially depending on your own specific needs. Especially when I have a new client in my chair, I always go straight into introducing them to all of these sensory things that I have to accommodate them while they're sitting in my chair. I personally keep fidget toys, earplugs, and a weighted lap pad at my station. I also have capes with hand holes that my clients can stick their hands through. That way they don't get hair all over their arms. And I also just reiterate to clients that if there are any specific accommodations that they need or things that they need me to adjust while I'm cutting their hair to make them more comfortable, for them to tell me about them. This opens the doorway for a client to have active communication with me throughout the entire process so that I can ensure that they're having a good experience. It's really important to me that people feel comfortable to tell me, hey, there's hair on my face. Hey, the temperature of the water is too hot. I don't really like the smell of that specific product. All of that culminates into the haircut experience, and I don't just want you to leave being like, wow, my hair looks really good. I also want you to leave feeling really good about yourself, really respected, and honestly better than when you sat down. I hope this information could be helpful for someone. If it was helpful for you, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and let me know down in the comments what your hairstylist red flags are. I am brand new to posting on YouTube, so I'm not exactly sure what my schedule is going to be moving forward, but I'm gonna try really hard to post on a weekly basis. And if you watched to the end of the video, please leave a comment with the sword crossed emojis. Until next time, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I don't think I have anything else. I do also have a blog, so maybe check that out. And I'll see you next time.